order. And we're going to start off with our minutes. So I do have our minutes posted in the chat, as well as in the in my shared screen. So I will scroll down every few seconds just so that you guys can capture it. If you don't want to open it up on your own screen, you can see it through my scroll. And then we'll aim to get some consensus on these minutes today. All right, folks, can we come to consensus on our minutes for today? Thank you, Mr. Marino. Thank you, Eden. Eduardo, we're good? Okay, cool. Okay, guys, so we have a number of things that we have to get to on our agenda. Will, do you want to go first, or do you want me to just run through how we typically do? I don't know what your schedule is in terms of hopping on.
I would say go through your typical process, and I'll present at the point where Gus normally would.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, guys. So we're going to start with our updates and reminders from my report. SLT training presentation review. We're going to ask each of you guys just to kind of connect on the presentation components that you're going to be working on specifically. Connecting with the individual that'll be doing it with you. Eden, Gus obviously will not be here, so you can kind of do that quick review for yourself, and if there's any questions that it raises for you, we'll try to connect you with Gus between now and next week.
I emailed him after the last meeting to let me know where he wants me to kind of pick up. So
perfect. Yeah, we'll make sure you guys get connected so that you're not stepping on each other's toes during the presentation next week. We'll talk about a little bit around DLT school level team assignments. Want to make sure that we all have a space to engage in that conversation. So in past practice, DLT members have taken on roles to be connected with certain schools, just to serve as their point person. So we'll revisit that. We will revisit the bylaws. I did amend them based on last month's conversation, so we can connect on our bylaws just one more time to make sure that we're good. I did include that space of perhaps holding a meeting in December and June in an in-person scenario, and talking about it through the lens of being virtual otherwise. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then I do want to touch base around subcommittee work for 24-25 and what that can look like for us as a district team. We'll be going over some of the DCEP space and the district parent and family engagement policy, and so on, and including of the DCIP. So more to follow from Will on that. But having said that, let's kind of get through our agenda today. We'll reconnect with our DLT norms, make sure that we're all in the same space. Diagnostic assessment window, I'm going to talk to you briefly about that. Any other space for DCEP goal feedback. I do want to talk to you about just a quick little update around DLT language access form that I've developed. I'm just waiting on translation. We'll send that out to all of our schools. And then lastly, we'll talk a little bit about subcommittees. So just revisiting our district team norms, one person speaking at a time. We're going to try to do this as much as we possibly can in terms of rounds of turn taking. Whoops, someone's joining. In terms of rounds of turn taking, avoiding those repetitions, passing if there's nothing new to add, making sure that we have that equal airtime. Cell phones, we don't really necessarily have to worry about in terms of interrupting in this space, but please make sure that we're staying being attentive during the meeting, follow protocols, and accept the idea of non-closure. And if for some reason we see ourselves not going on through our expectations of protocols, that our team members know that it's okay to bring us back into that space of teamwork that we need. So just before we begin, I mentioned to you this whole idea of connection before content. I do want to make sure that we bring us into a space of conversation before we begin. So just these two brief little statements, and I'm wondering for you, the one thing that you remember most about your elementary or high school years, what does that include? Or things that you value most, just in general. Just take a moment to reflect on that. We'll do a quick round of conversation. The thing I remember most about my elementary through high school years include, or the things I value most are. So just take a moment of pause on those two statements, and we'll do a quick round just to connect with one another before we begin. We'll stop sharing just for a moment, give you just another minute for reflection, and we'll get started. All right, and just to get started for myself, one of the things that that I always had, always connected with in school, and still to this day as I watch my daughter and son, is the athletics component of what elementary and high school was. I was always on a field. Was always on a court of some sort, and it's so funny, kind of full circle now. I'm, when I'm not in the office or not in the school, I'm in my own kids' school, watching them do the very same thing. So to me, it's really pretty neat to come full circle and watching my kids do the same things that I found so appealing about school as a youngster. So for me, that's something that I always has a special place for me. That whole camaraderie that came with team and the friends that have come with it in terms of long-lasting friendships came from that space. So that's something I always hold dear to me. Mr. Marino, you're kind of the first on one of my first squares up here. So you care to share anything?
Well, I'll just say quickly that going to public school in the city, I was never on a court or a field or any type of athletic. But I will say there's certain dichotomy between elementary school and then high school for me, going to school in the city in the late 70s and early 80s, was that in elementary school, it was just year after year of teachers who you really felt cared. so much and knew me, knew my family, knew each child, not just, our learning and the way we needed to be approached educationally, but also just they knew us on a family level. And then going into high school, where there was upwards of 4,000 kids back then, no one even knew my name. I didn't know who the principal was. I didn't know I had no school counselors that tried to help me get into college. I went from being shepherded along with people who I felt like were like extensions of my family to waving in the breeze. And now my children, I have older children as well as a 9-year-old, having gone through high school in the public school. It's not like that anymore. It felt more personalized. I was happy to see that their teachers were contacting me if something was out of sorts or if something was good. It was nice to see at least that has been addressed. I know there's a lot of smaller high schools now, but going to those small cities back in the 80s, it was wild. Some wild stories back then.
Yeah, thanks for that, Rob. I appreciate it. Eduardo.
Okay, so graduating from John Bound High School, what I remember the most was caring for the animals in the land lab, especially the chickens, collecting the eggs. And one of my favorite things was Fridays. We used to go horseback riding in Forest Park from Lynn's riding school. What I value the most was the teamwork amongst the students, always, caring for the animals and grooming them and making sure that they were well taken care of. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome, Eduardo. Thank you for sharing that. Eden.
So for me, I think I was thinking more towards high school age, because a lot of my roles now as a parent leader kind of coincide with what I did in high school. I was a peer mediator. I was on the school leadership team in the high school level where I was the student. So like for me, I was also in student government. It's like it's all coming full circle that I'm like, of course I'd fall into this like realm of, okay, now I'm going to step up and be this parent leader because I'm like, I've always been in that leadership role. So I look back at it and I'm like thinking like even about my own children, and I see certain skill like things in them that I'm like, they're going to be like that because I was like that. And I think I keep kind of picturing back to what I did and how it got me to where I am. And I see them trying to become those leaders. So I think that's really my biggest thing.
Love that. Thank you, Eden. Rachel.
Well, the one thing that sticks out in my mind through both elementary and high school is my love for math. I was a math award recipient at both 8th grade and high school graduation. And even now helping my kids, there's just that satisfaction of isolating X. It's such a, it's so precise and there's no ifs, ands, or buts, X equals whatever. And I just enjoyed that and finding out what, isolating X and that type of finality that you get with math.
Love that. We're going to bring you on the road, Rachel. Talking up your love of math. I love it. Lamar.
Hey, everybody. Good morning. So I remember, and this is for me really full circle. I remember being in the 5th grade and getting my report card back from our teacher, Mr. DiUlio. And I went to Catholic school, so it was like a trifold piece of paper. You fold it 2 and you get a three columns. And in the comments, all it said was, Lamar must talk less. That's it. And, I heard about that a lot. Mom and Dad were not happy. But then I think full circle, and I'm like, well, see, I was prepping myself for what my future would be. I have to talk. This is my line of work, Ma.
That's hilarious.
I reminded of that the other day, and I was like, see, remember you got on me for that? Look, this is what I do. I talk all day. And then in high school, I don't know if it's high school for me as much as it's, I guess, for my daughter. But the other day, you were talking about how much time you spend in your school. She was talking about some partnership, some group project she was working with. Her partner didn't know what to come up with. And my daughter said, well, why don't you write about a union? To the other young lady goes, well, what's that? And then it becomes a whole conversation that my daughter is sharing about what a union is, and you know how it, and I'm going to say I'm speaking through her. I don't know if she listens a lot, but the things that we would say about protective rights and all the other good stuff, but it came from her. So it really taught me just how much the children are listening when we talk. And it really taught me just how much your words could have an influence on an impressionable high school kid. So those are my 2 shares.
Yeah, I love that, Lamar. And I think, sometimes we take for granted the things, even as educators, that kids hold on to for a really, really long time. And how it does influence, influence them to become who they are. So I love that share. Will, you have anything that you'd like to add into the mix?
Sure, thank you. So something I was reflecting on was the opportunities that I was given to kind of pursue intellectual curiosity in certain areas. I had the opportunity as a high school student to take theater in New York as a course, and we went to Broadway shows and wrote New York Times style reviews. And actually kind of connecting to what some other folks have also said, my son is having the same experience now as a high school senior. And so seeing that come full circle, and sharing that with him has been just a great opportunity. It's been terrific. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah, love that. Thanks, Will. Mr. Swillick, I see you joined us too.
Would help if I unmute. So listen to, of course, being one of the last ones always picked with the last name of ZW. As all of you spoke, I can say, I was going to say that. I was going to say that. I was going to say that. So I went to Catholic school. I went to a very small school in Bayside, graduated 50 kids, kindergarten through 8, and then went to St. Francis Prep with 800 kids in my graduating class. So one of the things that I could say that I remember was the small group of kids that I left that school with that went to the big school, and then I had playing sports, playing football, all of a sudden, knew all these extra people, and watching over the years from that to now of how my life has intertwined with people they knew then and now. Like yesterday, randomly found a person who lives 2 blocks away from me that went to elementary school with me, and because of the last name, we have very rare last names. Like it's like, hey, did you go here? Yeah, that's my sister. Oh, okay. Oh, all these other things. And so it's just the connections that you may not realize when you're in the moment that will come back, not to haunt you, but to bring up those memories later on in life. Like, I remember being that old, like hanging out with you or watching this happen with you in my class, and it's just like, you never know what memories are going to be brought up to the top of your list based on your random daily interactions with people from your past. And being that as kids, our job is being in school. So most of our memories are going to relate to school.
Yeah, I love that, Matt. And so interesting, and I'm not sure if all of you guys have seen this, is that we were all able in some way, shape, or form to relate the things from our youth to the current times that we're currently living in with the folks that are around us in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's something that we have to just be mindful of, that, how we're creating these experiences for our kids currently in our schools, because they do have a long lasting impact on what they remember about their youth. And it should be positive experiences, which is why I also find interesting that the things that we remembered most were the positive things. They were not necessarily the negative things that could have come from our experiences in school, because I do think that those exist too. But we all lingered over the things that were positive, and that's what our experiences should be like for our schools. For any of our guests that are on, if you want to add it to the chat so we can look at, just for interest of time, we're gonna keep going. But for any of our guests that are here that want to add in their experience, I would love to see that from you as well. But I'm going to continue on with my my report for today. And I encourage you guys in each of our constituent groups, whomever it is that you connect with, this whole idea of connection before content really want everyone to be thinking about how are we making sure we're building those relationships amongst each other. You know, it goes a long way to solidifying our teamwork, as well as promoting that work towards a common goal. So I encourage all of our constituent groups to engage in this work, something that I've asked all of our building leaders to do within their context of their own schools. So summer reading raffle, just a quick update. I had an opportunity to meet with all 6 of our winners. It was really, really cool. Look, you know, some of our kids, you know, especially our little pre-K guy over there on the right-hand side of the screen, was just so super excited to receive their awards. And these are the kids. And let me blow it up. I see some of you trying to make out what those pictures look like. So this is a little pre-K on the side. We had little school bags made for them with an assortment of books, so they can continue on reading as this school year progresses. But for those of you who don't recall, we did a summer reading program or contest, so to speak, where parents took pictures of their kids reading and then submitted them to be part of a raffle. So these are our 6 award winners, and it was really, really cute. The little one here to the left had her little peace sign up. As soon as those cameras came out, she was pumped and ready to go. But it's something that we do intend to do more frequently. And as we ask kids about this, they did ask that we do it more. So we're going to try to open up more opportunities at the district level to really promote reading, you know, across our schools and even our middle school. You can see that we had Bell Academy here. They had their mascot. And, you know, you think about a middle schooler and how excited they're going to get. But this student was really, truly happy to know that he was the award winner for this contest. So something that we do want to continue to engage in and grow through moving forward. Ribbon cutting for PS32. This was a really, really big success. I thank Principal Arico, Assistant Principal Valenzuela, and all of her staff. We had our CEC president present. We had our local elected officials from across our district community. Lamar was there representing U of T. It was a really, really nice experience. We had an opportunity to also tour the new portion of the school, as well as some of the things that were existing that they renovated, including a new gymnasium. So it came out really, really nice, and looking forward to seeing PS32 grow moving forward. We will also have a ribbon cutting for 169 and Bell Academy. That is on October 17th at 4 p.m. We expect a nice turnout for that as well. This one a little bit extra special, as it does include the unveiling of the school name, which is now the Paul Vallone Community Educational Campus, which is really exciting. We're really, really happy to be able to remember former council member Vallone in this way for all the work that he's done in our community. And we did have his wife was present for PS32 as well, and she will be there with her children, I would imagine, on the 17th to see this unveiling. So we're really excited about that. National Hispanic Heritage Month, as we know, is from mid-September through mid-October. Our schools are engaging in a variety of activities and such. Here are just a couple of photos of our kids engaging in some work connected with that. You know, more to follow as we go through the remainder of this month, and you'll have some additional updates in our district newsletter for you guys to see. This I want to just continue to emphasize. So excited about this. The adult education program. For anyone on the DLT that knows of anyone that's still interested, please don't hesitate. Make sure that they have the information, you know, to access this program. Over 400 participants fully registered, engaging in both ESL classes as well as GED program, which is really, really amazing. So, you know, keep encouraging folks to participate in that. DLT language access recommendations, just so that everyone knows, our schools will be receiving the language access rubric, as well as the language access needs survey very shortly. You'll see here that there are multiple sections that we have made available. We've put it into our 4 largest languages of English, Spanish, Korean, and Chinese. We will make all the others accessible in the form for any of our schools that may have folks that speak Bengali or Arabic. These will all be at the school level. This is not necessarily for me to collect as much as it is for our schools to collect and see how it is that they're connecting with their families via the various languages that exist in our buildings. This is an outgrowth of parent feedback during the year last year. So we are asking all of our school SLTs to include this as part of their agenda item in October, November, so that we can get some of this survey data back from our families. This is ready to go. We're just waiting on translation for our letter that's going to be sent out to schools to share with families about it. Just a quick reminder, we have a couple of workshops that are coming up in October. October 29th, supporting algebra readiness at home. There's a math family night that's going to be held at 154 in 154Q. Really excited about that, led by Beth from our team. And we're going to have 2 Acadience workshops, which is really, really important for any of our families in K-2, so that parents know when they receive those reports back, what those reports actually mean for them as a parent. There will be a set of iReady dates. We're just solidifying those. It will be in October within the next 2 weeks. So we're working with iReady to solidify those dates. Now we should have them out to families within the next day or so. But those are just a couple of upcoming workshops for all of our families to know. And we also have Nathan from our team is going to be presenting during the CEC meeting around special education. Will be the first of a series of workshops that we provide throughout the year. Diagnostic assessment window, just so that everyone has this in their mind's eye for the fall, and making sure that everyone has awareness of what assessments our kids are taking. Excuse me, reading K-2 is the Acadience assessment. Reading 3 to 8 is iReady. Math, oops, that shouldn't be 3 to 8, that should be K-8. I'm sorry, let me fix that and realize I did that. K-8 in mathematics for iReady, and Algebra 1 for 8th graders that are taking the Regents exam will be administered the MAP assessment this school year. The window is from September 16th through the 25th. We have a large majority of our kids have already taken this assessment, giving us the feedback that we need to help support our cycles of MTSS, which you'll be hearing about throughout the school year. So just a brief reminder of our priorities. All students learn to read well, as we've talked about already in the past. The strategic use of decodable text, we have already started our training opportunities on the use of decodable text. We have a couple of cohorts that we're building from our schools, and those cohorts will then help serve the rest of our schools across the district in building their knowledge of how to use decodable text efficiently and effectively in our classrooms. Priority 2, really around building SEL work through MindUp and student-to-student relationship building. This is something that we want to result in improved student-to-student relationships as per the school survey. We'll be sharing a survey with all of our schools, as well as sending a family letter out to all parents, letting them know that we're going to be administering an SEL survey. So in the event the parent chooses to not have their child participate, they do have that option. We would certainly love all of our parents and kids to engage in this work. Explicit instruction, as you guys know, we've talked about this already. This is going to be an area that we linger on throughout the year and likely into next, just making sure that our practices align with expectations from explicit instruction, using Anita Archer's explicit instruction text as the research base to support our work across our schools, with the goal of improving outcomes, obviously, for our students across subgroups, particularly our Hispanic, Black students with IEPs and our L learners. Mathematics, math routines, math discourse, big part of our work, as well as using the 3 reads protocol to help problem solving across our buildings. This is something that's across grades. really looking to build out outcomes so that our kids are prepared for Algebra 1 when they get there. We did have a significant number of our kids pass the Regents this year, but we want to get beyond that space of passing. We want our kids to be meeting mastery in that 80 to 85, and then at 85 and above for our kids to be ready for the next course in high school. Our parent work goal is to continue to raise around progress, making sure that our parents understand what's going on with the progress of their children. Survey data last year indicated we were around 85% of our families felt that that was the case. We do want to improve upon that as a district, and we want to build these relational parent engagement opportunities across our schools, which you will see happening throughout the year through us modeling as a district what that can and should look like. And of course, chronic absenteeism. You guys know that this is really, really important for us as a district community. We have already seen improvements from last year to this year. It's around 2% difference from where we started last year, which is great. Our attendance is over 95%, which is, again, great. But we still have pockets of chronic absenteeism that need to be addressed. We still remain among the highest attendance rates in New York City. Intention is that that remains the case throughout the year. But we can have a high attendance rate, but still have high chronic absenteeism at the same time. So our goal is to make sure that we are continuing to address that through action planning with each individual school, as every school has their own set of needs. Progress monitoring. This we went over last year. Acadian's reading assessment, student survey, iReady reading assessment. We have a checklist to support what's going on inside of our classrooms. There will be a parent survey that's going to be shared with parents 3 times a year. And chronic absenteeism is monitored on a daily, weekly, monthly basis for all of our schools. And now to kind of the meat of what I wanted to get to you with you guys today. We have 5 sections to our SLT training, which is going to be held next week on October 15th. So I want us to have just a few minutes to linger over what it is that those presentations kind of call for, and be able to meet with the individual that's going to be partnered with you. So right now we have Gus and Eden, and Matt and Will, if you wouldn't mind, maybe you can just have a quick chat with Eden around those presentation slides. It's kind of like the SLT 101 and the A655. Obviously, Gus is going to be doing that presentation, provided that all is well by then. But Gus typically does the 101, with one of our members, and in this case, it's going to be Eden. Mr. Marino, if you can just take some time, and I'll create a couple of little breakout rooms so that we can hop in them just for a few minutes to familiarize ourselves around MTSS and what the expectations are there. Yelena will be doing the budget management, and Umit's going to be engaging in the presentation slides around benchmarking of goals. So all of you should have access to these slide presentations, and we will kind of go from there. Go ahead, Rachel. I see your hand up.
Yes, where are we supposed to access the slide presentations? Because I didn't receive anything through email. I don't know if it's posted on the web page or.
Yeah, so they're all in our on our district, the district page, but I will put in that slide deck for you now. That is the MTSS slide deck. I'll put them all in there individually so that you guys have access to them without having to go into the deck itself.
Yeah, the folder that they're in is kind of hidden from the public, so you need the link directly to the folder, but everyone should have access to it once you have the link.
All right.
The one thing I did notice is on the PowerPoint slides, we just need to update who's presenting. That was one of the
100%. Yeah, a lot
they
of
were
those
copied
things,
from last year. Yeah,
from last year. Yep.
Yep. And everyone should have access, I believe, to edit also, even without a New York City Public Schools login or anything like that. So, and then while I'm speaking, I'm just gonna quickly, a little bit after the meeting, I'm gonna go ahead and run a report for all of the registration that we have for next week's training sessions, and I'll email all the DLT, exactly how many people are registered to attend each session, and then I'm going to be following up with each school. First, I'm going to be following up with schools that have no one registered for the sessions, which I'm not sure how many there are, but there probably are some. And then I'll follow up with all schools, reminding them to register SLT members for the training.
Lewis, I have a
That's it.
question about that
Yeah.
actually.
Sure.
So because I'm on DLT and I'm also at the school level, the SLT, do I need to register since I'm going to already be on
No, you don't have to
presenting?
register.
Okay. That's
yeah,
what I
you
wanted
don't
to
have
make
to
sure.
Yeah, that's no problem. And just so everyone else knows, also I'm getting questions for schools if this like replaces their October meeting, and I explained that it does not, and that all SLT members, in order to get that remuneration, must participate in the 2-hour training, and this meets that requirement. So this does not replace their October meeting. This is in addition to, because everyone needs to get 2 hours of training. And then I also have partial people that can't make it on 8. And I talked about the recordings and how they can do a turnkey presentation at the school level to meet that requirement for anyone who can join us live.
So I'm gonna put on the clock just 7 minutes to go through the slide deck, and if we need more time, we can always go right back in. Just to do a quick little review of what those slides are, and then come back. Any questions that are there that you may have, any wonderings, any things that you believe should be added based on what it is that we've learned. I know for Gus and Eden, there was the addition of the expectations for what needs to be posted in iPlan as something that should be added into that deck that was not part of last year's conversation with SLTs. But I do know that that's something that we need to make sure we get a handle on across our district schools so that everyone knows exactly what they need to do. And that should be part of that SLT 101 now. So that for any of our SLT and including our DLT, that we have immediate access into iPlan to access that information. So just going to create those breakout rooms for the 2 groups. The other one, which we're going to go over briefly, Mr. Sarin's going to be doing the benchmarking, which I do believe is one of the more important components of our work just in general in our schools. And not that we have these goals in our DCEP or CEP, but we have a means of seeing whether or not they're working. So Umit's going to bring you just through a couple of his slides just so that everyone's on the same page with what that is after we come back. So I have it for 7 minutes, guys. Go in, have that quick little chat in those groups, and we will go from there. Now, Lamar, is this something that you want to hop on with? You want to hop on with Umit and engage in that, the benchmarking slides, or? Lamar, are you there?
Are we going in breakout rooms, Dr. Mike, or?
You can if you want, Esther. It's fine. If
Okay.
you and Jenny, one of you wants to go to the, hold on, I'll put you in with.
I was gonna say I didn't get invited to a room, but I could.
Yeah, I'll put you in one. Yeah, I'll put you in one just so that you can be there to support.
Thank you.
And same with you, Jenny.
Yes. Thank you.
Say again? No, you're okay here for now. Yeah. And Eduardo, is there anything from the high school team that you would want to have as part of the SLT training?
Well, I don't know what do you think I should present on
No, is there, if there's
Yeah.
anything that perhaps Superintendent Two would like to have present, we can certainly add in anything from the high school perspective.
Okay. I'll connect with her later and find out.
Eduardo, has there been anything about the high school president for our president's council yet? Okay, guys, welcome back. Anything, Mr. Marino, from your group? Are those slides okay? Is there anything that needs to be changed, altered, modified in any way? Are we good with those slides?
Oh yeah, we were kind of just organizing ourselves around it. I'll take a deeper look to see in a more analytical space to see if anything could be updated since last year. But it seems like pretty straightforward and standard. And Rachel and I will go back and forth on which slides we'll present, and it should be great.
Okay. Matt, Will, and Eden, anything from your presentation that that needs to be added or subtracted, divided, whatever?
So I think Gus and Eden will follow up on, in terms of who's presenting what. And I just wanted to thank you for the recommendation, because we'll make the corresponding change on our citywide training materials to ensure that the instructions on uploading district level documents, as well as school level documents, SLT documents, to the portal on a monthly basis as well. So we get that all in alignment. So thank you for that.
Sure. Eden, you okay with what's there? Is there anything there that you look at and say, you know what, I don't really feel good about presenting any specific part?
No, once I know what he wants me to do, I'll just kind of go with it.
Okay. Okay. All of the timeframes are pretty laid out, just to make sure that we go over it. My portion, which I'm going to share with you right now, is 10 minutes, and I'm going to keep myself to that because you guys know I can talk. So I'll share with you just briefly what it is that I intend to do. It's followed by 30 minutes between Gus and you, Eden, for the kind of the SLT 101, 30 minutes for the benchmarking of CEP goals, 20 minutes for MTSS, and then 25 minutes around budget, with Yelena will be doing that part, and the presentation slides are present there for her as well. So just to quickly go over what I'm going to be doing. Just the general intro, going to bring them through our district website so they can see what it is that we have there. And, this component alone is something that I think, just for our schools to reflect on. It's really, really very straightforward, easy for families, especially in the virtual space, to have access to, including the meeting documents, sign-ins, all that stuff is all present here. And I think it's a nice example for our families to, our parents, our teachers, and our leaders to be able to have access to reflect on what theirs looks like as well. So I'm going to go over that briefly. I'm going to talk about who are our team members. We are still waiting for our high school, the high school president's council to be elected. We will kind of go through that when the time comes. We'll be sharing the citywide mission statement along with our district expectations and our levers for improvement this year, and what we believe in terms of teamwork throughout our schools and District 25. So that will be my little short intro space. That'll be followed by SLT 101. And then I'm just going to ask Umit to briefly share, because I think it's important for us as a DLT to be in the same mindset around what progress monitoring can look like for us as a district leadership team, and what we intend to do as the year goes on for ourselves. So I'm going to stop sharing just for a moment and turn it over to Umit, who's just going to give a very brief overview of what progress monitoring will look like within our district DCEP goals, which will then hopefully serve as a modeled example for what our schools can be thinking about as SLTs throughout the year. So go ahead, Umit. You're on mute.
So, as you know, we are using a cadence reading assessment 3 times per year to progress monitor our priority 1. For priority 2, we use the student survey 3 times a year and action projects 2 times per year. For priority 3, we will be using iReady reading assessment 3 times per year. And then we will be also using the explicit instruction checklist routinely to identify patterns and trends monthly. For priority 4, we will be using iReady mathematics assessment 3 times per year. In addition to this, we will be also utilizing the Math Look For tool to look for patterns and trends on a monthly basis. For priority 5, we will use the parent survey 3 times per year. And for chronic absenteeism, we will monitor the data routinely on an ongoing basis. We will be utilizing, we shared the data tool with our schools. Just to give you an idea, it looks like this. Our schools will be able to monitor and progress monitor data for every window, for each window on every component of every assessment using the data portal to help them progress monitor their school. In terms of, so looking back to our priority 1, as Dr. D'Antona went over, it's about using the use of decodable text to build foundational reading skills and language development. To progress, before we progress monitor, we came up with a theory of action. Our goal is to increase the number of students reading at proficiency in grades K to 2. That is our goal, and we will be focusing on supporting students' ability to decode words. We will support student academic language development, and we will support students' ability to read text fluency. We will do that through explicit instruction using decodable text. And the change idea for that is that, we will be able to convey learning target, lesson-specific phonics skill that will be focused on so that students understand what's being learned. Teachers will share success criteria and expectations and how lesson goals will help students. And they will then provide step-by-step demonstration of proficient performance by thinking aloud. In terms of intentional planning focused on spelling and word patterns, teaching new skills and concepts, then applying phonics skills taught to connected text that can mostly be sounded out based on the phonics skills previously taught so that students have an opportunity to practice. And teachers will engage in routine classroom visits, teacher teams and teachers, using as well as the administration, using the explicit instruction walkthrough tool, and then they will offer timely feedback to staff. In terms of progress monitoring, looking at our June 2024 data, according to the Acadians data, 59% of all learners, 45.4% of our ENL learners, 28.9% of our SWD learners, 55.2% of our Black learners, and 42.8% of our Hispanic learners scored on or above grade level. So our goal is by June 2025, student performance at or above grade level will increase by 5% across all student subgroups and by 10% specifically among ENL, SWD, Black and Hispanic subgroups as measured by the Acadians assessment. So to progress monitor our goal, for all learners, the beginning of the school year, we aim to have 54% of students. By winter, 59% of those students, and by the end of year, 64% of those students, all learners, to be on or above grade level. In terms of ENL learners, we aim to have 41% of them on grade level by fall. By winter assessment, those students, 48% of those students will be on grade level. And by the end of the school year, 55.4% of those students will be on or above grade level. For SWD learners, that number is 23% for fall, 31% for winter, and 38.9% for June. Black learners, 47% for fall, 56% for winter, and 65.2% for June. And finally, the Hispanic learners, it'll be 39% for fall, 46% for winter, and 52.8% for June. So as you can see, our goal is to make 10% gain for our subgroups and 5% gain for our all students category based on the Acadians data. Looking at our priority 2 around all students being, I don't need to? Okay. So, I just want to go over the next one in terms of we will be utilizing an SEL survey to measure our progress for our priority 2. For our priority 3, we will be utilizing iReady reading data. That is, this priority is around HMH, and they're improving their reading as well. As you can see here, the structure is the same. We identify subgroups that we need to focus on. We came up with a goal, and then for all learners, our goal is similar, 5% for all students, 10% for our subgroups as well. In terms of our priority 4, to increase the mathematic proficiency of all of our learners, the structure is the same. 54% of our learners scored on or above grade level. We will increase that by 5% for all learners, and for all subgroups, we are going to increase that number by 10%. In terms of priority 5, we will rely on the parent survey as well as the in-house survey that we created to progress monitor. And our goal is to increase that number from 85% of parents in terms of reporting, communicating with their child's teacher about their child's performance, from 85 to 90% by June. In terms of chronic absenteeism, we will be using the attendance report, the RIAS report on ATS, to progress monitor our chronically absent students. The structure is the same. Our goal is to reduce chronic absenteeism by 4% for all subgroups. So when you engage in a conversation with the SLTs and teacher teams, some of the questions that need to be asked are posted on the screen. So what does the data tell us? What doesn't it tell us? What are the strengths of our school, and how can we build on them to make improvements? What are the areas of concerns? Do we need more information? If so, how will we follow up? So those questions need to be asked, and a conversation needs to take place in terms of, where we are as a school, what our priorities are, what the subgroups do we need to focus on, and how are we going to progress monitor so that we are able to meet our goals for those subgroups. And then obviously, feedback will be gathered. And then it's important for us also to engage around a conversation. How is progress shared with the staff and the community overall, right? Are our schools sharing the progress and with not only the staff members, but also with our parents? And how are they able to gather feedback from the parents and modify their goals and their action plans accordingly? I believe that's basically it for me, Dr. D'Antona. Let me.
Yeah, thank you for that, Umit. And guys, the one thing that I do want to just call out from that session that I think is important for all of our schools, and it'll be certainly much more lengthy than what the time I just gave Mr. Sarin to talk about it. But the space of this work, let me just pull it up again real quick, that is really, really important for our SLTs to be mindful of, that I want to impress upon all of them, is that, sometimes with progress monitoring, we see a lot of numbers, right? All these numbers, these percentages. But aside from those numbers and percentages, there's work that we're doing, that's either making those numbers improve or not. So it's really about making sure that within our progress monitoring, we're calling out the work that we've been doing as a collective team. So there's one slide in here that I think is really important for everyone to be mindful of. And there's just a sample link that I want to just call out really quickly in terms of importance. It's very, very simple. And these are tools that have been shared, different variations of this that have been shared in the iPlan portal or in the decks that have come from Central in terms of monitoring. This one has its own kind of space of what I believe is really important. And here would go listed whatever the goal is, right, in that section, followed by, are we on target to meet the goal, the action steps that we've taken to meet that goal, and what evidence do we have that we've done the things that we said that we were going to do, followed by what elements of your action plan was not yet realized, and there'll be reasons why they're not yet realized, right? But if it's something that we put down in the action plan, then it's about how do we make sure we establish those next steps. So these are all part of the qualitative part of our work, not just the quantitative, which is all around those numbers. This is around the things that we say that we're going to do. Are we meeting those expectations? And then most importantly, what do we do when, right? So if we learn that we didn't meet certain action steps, what do we do about that, right? We have to put in some processes in order to make sure those adjustments are being made. So when we have a tool similar to this, which will be shared widely, when we have a tool similar to this, it allows our teams to work in a way where it's constantly reflective of ongoing improvement efforts. So this is something that I just want to call out so that you guys know that as part of it within your respective teams, that you're thinking about it, but also as a district leadership member, that we share these types of things with our schools in whatever way that we can, so that we spread the news more widely around, just best practices in terms of connecting with the things that are important to us in terms of improvement cycles. So that is kind of in a nutshell the training deck for next week. We're going to be doing it from 4 to 6 and 7 to 9. So we will hold 2 separate sessions. The time frame will be there. Eden, I'll make sure that you connect with Gus. I know that you've already reached out to him, but we'll make sure that connection is made so that you guys feel good about who's presenting what. Rob and Rachel, if I can ask you guys to make sure that you connect so you feel good about who's presenting which part. And then I think we'll be pretty good for next week's session. We'll update it with all the new names. My intro slides are already ready. The progress monitoring slides are ready. I've updated the names on the SLT 101 slide already. And I believe I made some updates to the MTSS alignment slides too. So we should be good to go. Just provided that you guys make sure you're getting together and talk about who's going to do what part. Are there any questions about SLT training next week? Okay. So the last part of what I wanted to quickly talk to you guys about, and it'll be between now and next week, I would like us to engage in this selection process for schools that we want to have as assignments, kind of like our go-to schools that we can connect with and offer those layers of support. some of our team members here are already part of other groups that also have selected schools. So I don't want to overwhelm anyone by adding an additional 5 or 6 to anyone's plate. I will send out to everyone at the conclusion of this meeting just the listing of schools, how they were organized in the past, and then just ask for your feedback on how we want to organize them this year, so that by next session we're ready to go with the groups that we want to kind of hold as our point schools moving forward. Okay, so I will share that with you, and if anyone has any immediate feedback around how we can organize for that, please feel free to unmute yourselves and add some of that feedback now. I do know that this impacts a number of you in different ways, so if you have any thoughts on that, that would be great. So I will share the listing from past years, that we used to have in terms of alignment, and then we can certainly make adjustments to who's with what school, so that we're not overwhelming any one particular party with so many schools between this role and other roles to be able to monitor over time. So I will share with everyone that breakdown of schools and who was assigned to them in the past, and if they still work, great, we'll go with those. If they don't, then we can make an adjustment and send out notice to all of our building leaders that you are their point person from the DLT. Okay. All right, guys, that concludes my portion of today. I'm going to turn it over to who's going to follow up, Will or Matt? Which one of you guys is going to take over the reins?
So I think we're gonna tag team.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
If that's okay, and thank you very much for having us, and Matt, thank you for being here as well. As I'm sure you all know, Gus is such a legend that it takes more than one person to pinch hit for him.
Our years barely add up to his years.
And so
true story.
Yeah, if we do something a little bit different, just give us a little bit of grace. It doesn't necessarily represent a full departure from how Gus shares information and does things, but hopefully we still add value to your DLT. And Matt, if and when I make a mistake or leave something out or forget something, please just jump right in. So first off, I just wanted to share, and this is related to the first agenda item, updating the draft 24-25 DCEP based on supportive feedback and current data. And first, I just wanted to acknowledge that the formal feedback has not yet been shared from Central. We are still waiting on that, but we can absolutely continue to make updates as new data becomes available, as feedback is received from the different constituency groups within the DLT, and as new data becomes available. But I also just wanted to comment, if I may, very, very briefly, that between Dr. D'Antona's update, the superintendent's report, between Deputy Saren's preview of some of the work that you all are doing in terms of progress monitoring, it's really, really clear that the DCEP work, that the goals, the priorities, the action steps, the progress monitoring is really authentically embedded in your meetings and the work that you're doing. And even the focus on closing gaps, achievement gaps for subgroups, that's a great model for your SLTs. So I really hope that that's being shared widely with your schools and your SLTs. I was really, really excited to see that. So I just wanted to applaud those efforts that you've got going on at the district level. So thank you for that. Okay. Beyond that, we don't have a whole lot for DCEP, except all of the work that you're already doing and that we're still waiting on formal feedback from Central DSL. And so we'll pick up that work and continue with it as soon as we receive it. Next up, I believe, is joint development, review, and update of the 24-25 district parent and family engagement policy. The DPFEP. Dr. D'Antona, may I ask to be upgraded to a co-host so I can share the parent family engagement policy? I've got it ready to go
Yeah,
here.
you should be good.
Okay, awesome. There we go. Thank you. All right. Family engagement policy, share. All right. Can you all see that now? Awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this is just essentially a reminder that that the district should ensure that the DLT, with the involvement, of course, of parents and family members, is evaluating both the content and the effectiveness of the district parent and family engagement policy, particularly for Title I schools, right? And just a reminder that it should be jointly developed and reviewed, which is precisely what we're doing now, agreed upon and distributed to families. I'm going to start to just kind of scroll through. I did want to point out there are one or two typos that may need to be updated. It's very, very clear that this was adopted last April, for a period of 2 years. So I'm not concerned about that, just flagging it for update at the top there. And again, as I briefly scroll through, a lot of the policy contains language that's required to meet state and federal guidelines. And again, just a reminder that the policy should include district-specific supports, activities, and other initiatives that the district is going to implement to support high-quality parent and family engagement, of course, in the and for student. Ultimately, the goal is for student success. I know you have this in a shared Google Drive, so I don't need to really emphasize that it's important that all members of the DLT have a copy of this. You already have access to it in the shared folder, and providing an opportunity now. And what happened here? I had the whole document loaded. Let me reload and see what's going on there. But you have an opportunity to provide feedback if needed. I'm just going to adjust my zoom here to find this version. I had the whole thing up before. Okay, I'll keep talking in the meantime. Or Matt, go ahead.
I was gonna say, while Will's finding that, I just, as a reminder, to once the district parent and family engagement policy is updated in your Google Drive, to ensure that that current version gets placed into the iPlan portal, to ensure that the content that you've all been working diligently gets publicly posted when the plan is approved, to ensure that it's aligned with every other district's DCP, that they're publicly posted on the iPlan portal. This way, all users, let it be inside your district or outside, can have access to it.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. And I think I got the rest of it to load in the meantime. So I'll just continue scrolling down. There we go. Great. Okay. So I'll continue to scroll down just as I share a couple of questions for thought, for feedback. So just things to consider: what are some of the barriers to greater participation by parents in district-related activities, if there are any, and how might we overcome those? What additional activities, and I know a lot of stuff has been shared already, can or should the district engage in to address the needs of parents and family members that will help to assist with, supporting academics of their children, including how they engage, how parents engage with teachers and with the schools in general? And are there any other additional strategies that may be added to the district parent and family engagement policy or the DCEP itself to support successful family interactions? And so again, consider, as you engage, particularly our parent members, as you engage with your constituents across the district, and to consider the questions that we shared, to guide the discussion for gathering any additional feedback that might be used to continue to help develop this policy. And then just a reminder, once it's finalized, again, to distribute it widely across the district, and that translated versions should be made available. And there are some district specific components right here, as you can see. Any questions, comments, or concerns with regard to this piece? All right, that said, we will keep things moving along and transition into the overview of the 24-25 District Comprehensive Improvement Plan, the DCIP.
Will, do you want me to share so you can
Yeah, I have it up,
Yeah.
but if you don't mind, that'd be helpful. Awesome, thank you. All right, so this section is the District Comprehensive Improvement Plan, the DCIP, and aligning it to the DCEP, which is your District 25 specific document. So as you may know from previous years, all target districts are required to develop a District Comprehensive Improvement Plan, a DCIP, that details how the district, and in this instance, we're talking about New York City as a whole, as the local educational agency, plans to improve instruction and how it plans to address the identified needs of any schools that are identified for additional support models by the state, whether it's comprehensive support and improvement, CSI, additional targeted support and improvement, ATSI, or targeted support and improvement, TSI. It also highlights how the district plans to increase student performance for any accountability subgroups for which it's been identified. And so what we're looking at right now is an overview of the 24-25 DCIP, the citywide document, which has been developed around the Chancellor's 5 priorities. These priorities, of course, as you well know, connect to the needs of all schools, with a focus on schools identified for improvement, as well as targeted subgroups, and to broader citywide initiatives that are deemed necessary to implement to promote success during the upcoming school year. And so the idea in this section is to review the priorities in the DCIP and to kind of align, or to pick out, to choose, to select the strategies or the central supports, initiatives, and interventions that best align to the needs of the subgroups and schools within your district. And so starting off, you're going to see the same priorities. So we're aligned to all students learning to read well, and then highlighting the 3 key priorities there: implementing high quality curricula for all students, developing school-wide assessment plans that incorporate screening, secondary diagnosis, and progress monitoring, and incorporating evidence and research-based interventions to meet unique students' needs. And so I think this is already pretty well aligned to the work that D25 has already outlined in its DCEP. And so the second priority is all around students' physical and emotional safety, and that there we go. Thanks, Matt. And so the priorities for 24-25 are really around deepening the citywide commitment to creating school communities that are safe, secure, and provide supportive learning environments, focusing on physical safety and emotional safety as well. And the rest of this just kind of connects to the statewide framework for how learning happens. And it was, again, developed through extensive engagement, students, families, school staff, community partners, through a wide variety of constituents, as well as a review of school CEPs, which incorporated both their equity self-reflections and student interviews. And so our goals around that are around decreasing the number of serious incidents. If we can continue to scroll down there, please, Matt. Thank you very much. Enhancing school culture and climate, increasing the number of students who are fully programmed and participating in school wellness programs, expanding school wellness councils, and for community schools, expanding that program as well. And then the next priority around students having a high quality academic experience. This really speaks to ensuring that we've got progress monitoring systems in place, which again, we've seen D25, you've got those in a very, very good place. Utilizing the ELA and math curricula, ensuring that that our citywide commitment to culturally responsive and sustaining education practices is in place, and of course, offering accelerated early reading supports for students within an RTI or MTSS framework for students who need them. Then moving on, Matt, if we could scroll down to priority 4, and this is really around student pathways and post-secondary readiness. And there are also implications here for elementary and middle schools, right? In ensuring that we expand access to computer science, that financial literacy curricula, and that we start building students and families skills around financial literacy as well. And then, Matt, if we just keep on moving through priority 5. And so again, this speaks to parent and family involvement, including having more parents, more families choose New York City public schools for their children. And here, the citywide goals are around distributing data summaries that are specific to individual district enrollment, implementing some of the policies and practices that that we gather through feedback with communities, and improving family survey results, specifically ones around satisfaction with the system as a whole. And so wherever we see opportunities to kind of take some of this information and incorporate it within the DCEP, if it's not already there, those are the places where we can do that. If there are DLT members who are interested in reviewing the entire DCIP document, we will help keep a hard copy on file at Dr. D'Antona's office. And you can schedule an appointment to review the document if you'd like to do that. And Gus, as your DSFP, can help coordinate and facilitate that meeting. The next piece is that this district comprehensive improvement plan does require the completion of a consultation signature page that will be submitted to the state education department to demonstrate that consultation occurred with each of the required constituency groups. And so what we'll do to accomplish that is to share a DocuSign signature page with the DLT members that will fulfill that consultation requirement. Matt, do we have the DLT DocuSign DCIP training deck? I know it's just a couple of slides. I think
right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And so what will happen there is you'll receive an email with a DocuSign link saying that someone from our team, whether it comes from Gus or Henry, who helps facilitate that as well, has requested that you sign a document. And I think we'll see that on the next slide.
I was just making sure you saw it before I went on.
Yep, there we go. So it'll likely come from Henry because he helps coordinate that work for our team. You'll click on review document, and then you'll see the signature form. Please, of course, make sure that we have spelled your name correctly. If we haven't, let Henry know, let Gus know, let Matt or I know. We'll get that fixed, and ensure that your role within the DLT is correct as well. And then you can use that little yellow button there to electronically sign. And basically what you're signing off on is that the information has been shared with you, we've consulted with you, and this is that consultation. And of course, the opportunity to provide feedback doesn't end here and now. And of course, as I mentioned, just wanted to reiterate that if you'd like to review a copy of the full DCIP, that we do keep a copy on file with every superintendent's office, and that you can make an appointment to review the entire document if you so choose. Any questions, comments, or concerns around that piece? Okay, not hearing any. Chat looks quiet. All right, so I think the last piece, if I'm seeing things correctly here, would be to just review I think you guys do have a proposed amendment to the DLT bylaws.
Yeah, guys, those were just added to the chat. So if you want to take a moment to review them, please do so. I highlighted in yellow the component that was changed. I'm sorry, excuse me. I highlighted in yellow the part that was changed from last year, and I adjusted the signature space on the bottom, which looks like it did cross over, so I can just make that just spatial adjustment on the bottom. But if you want to take just a moment to review it, and then it'll be come to a consensus on it as of today. Revision date would be today, October 7th, based on what we talked about last time. So it is in the chat. The two things that were noted were the virtual meetings and just revising the bottom portion where the signatures are required.
And again, as you review, before we ask or do a consensus check here, again, just connecting this process at the DLT level, reviewing the bylaws annually, suggesting updates, reviewing it for potential updates during the September meeting, bringing those updates, those potential revisions to the October meeting, again, is a great model for the work at the school level. Sometimes when, unfortunately, usually when things come up, it's because there's a problem or an issue, and then we may ask the SLT, oh, well, what do your bylaws say? And they're not even necessarily sure where their bylaws can be found. No less when the last time they were updated. So again, this is a great model and a great practice that the DLT can share at the school level as well. And I'm sure Matt wants to remind everybody that iPlan does now also have a field, a place where schools can upload their SLT bylaws as well. Hopefully that gave everybody enough time and a chance to review the DLT bylaws, and we can now proceed with a consensus check.
Okay, folks, thoughts? We need any other revisions? Give a quick consensus. Either give me the virtual thumb. If you're on screen, you want to give a thumb. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Rachel. Eduardo, we good?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Eden. Lamar is good. Okay. All right, guys. So we will keep it dated and I'll remove that yellow highlight so that we can have the official revisions posted, and we'll be good to go and check back on it, for in future meetings in the event that we need to. Thank you for that. Anything else, Will or Matt?
I think that's it for us, unless there are any questions that would have shared with Gus. Matt, you got something?
I do have two things. One, as a reminder, we do have SLT and DLT monthly guidance in the portal, where, especially for principals, they have a lot of things going on. They can just hop on there and see what should be covered every month. I know it's covered in September, but I'm just reiterating that sometimes it's a helpful hint to school leaders. Takes a little bit of pressure off them, what they have to do per month. It's all there. And the other thing, I know Dr. D'Antona did bring it up, where the progress monitoring for the school goals, we will be releasing in iPlan within the next about a month, the progress reporting tool that this year is brand new for all schools, that they have to use it. And it will bring in the goals that are in the portal and other elements into the PRT in there. So it's easily shared with SLT members and district staff, how they're doing in progress monitoring their goals for the year. So that should be coming within the next month and a half is our guesstimate on time frame.
Yeah, awesome. Now, listen, anytime we can have all these things in a digital space, which is like clearly what the state, federal government are asking for when it comes to all of this, it makes things easier in the long run. Maybe a little bit complicated to begin with, but easier in the long run. So thank you guys. I appreciate you stepping in today and sharing out important components, especially the DCIP, and seeing the alignment. I'm hoping you guys saw the alignment between the city's position on where they're progressing, looking to support improvement, and things that we're focused on as a district. I know I certainly saw the alignment. I'm hoping you guys were able to as well as we went through it. So thank you guys for sharing that today. Eduardo, high school superintendent's report, excuse me.
Yes, let me share my screen. All right. Screen two. Good morning, everybody. Oh, here we go. Share. Can everybody see my screen? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. So greetings from Superintendent 2. We're going to go over our district goals for 2024-25. As you can all see, chronic absenteeism continues to be a problem. So we want to tackle that chronic absenteeism. We have 9 attendance teachers join our team, and so working with our attendance manager, Mr. Jeffrey Marty, hopefully we'll be able to tackle that problem with chronic absenteeism. So these are the highlighted changes to this year's goals. We're going to be teaming, progress monitoring, coaching, and adjusting. These are our family forum dates for school year 24-25. I will be uploading all this information to our website. We have a high school fair coming up Tuesday, November 12th. It will be hosted at Atlas High School in Long Island City. This is the former site of Newcomers High School. I will be sharing this flyer with Esther and Jenny so that it can be distributed to all the families in D25. So it's very important that they join us if they are interested in applying to any of the high schools in Queens North, and a great opportunity to find out, about the programs, the ICT programs that our district offers. And that's the update for high school. Any questions? I don't see any questions in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. And a couple of things there too, guys. If you didn't notice, the subgroups that they in the high school world are focused on, similar to the subgroups that we're focused on. our English language learners and our students with IEPs, really super important, in terms of the work that we're engaging in. And one of the goals that was not necessarily emphasized for D25 today, but is an important one, is the work that we're engaging in terms of standalone supports for our entering and emerging children that we do get coming to us on a daily basis. And, Mr. Marino, you're on the screen, and I know you receive, new students probably every day that need that L support. So it is something that we're going to be attending to as a district moving forward, to support our newest learners in our buildings. So having said that, I'm going to have an opportunity for CSA, anything that you would like to call out or share today?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to reiterate and also recognize congratulating PS32, Bell Academy 169 on their extensions. It's exciting. I know that those principals and assistant principals, worked very hard to make that happen. And the process of it happening while still running a school is challenging, and they did a great job. Also want to thank you, Dr. Mike, and Deputy Saren for that data tool that you've provided us. It's extremely useful and becoming more useful as we learn how to navigate it. So I feel like District 25 is like a step above right now when it comes to being able to aggregate data in a useful and more importantly, efficient way as we're moving to try to do more in the same amount of time that we always had. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. For us, this is for all of our DLT members. You've seen, short in a short version way, the data tool that's been developed as a district community. Mr. Sarin has led up that charge in making sure that information is accessible, and taking some of that work off of the plate of the school. So that's really more of an emphasis on what are we doing with this information, really increasing the amount of time we spend on that than doing all of the gathering and organizing. We wanted that to take that part of it out of the equation, so that we can spend more time focused on what do I do with what is now coming out of it. So thank you for that, Rob. Lamar, any comments? Is he still on here? I think Lamar might have hopped off. I don't see him on here now. If Lamar hops back on, then we'll ask for any feedback that he may have. But President's Council, Rachel, any updates or anything that you need to share?
So our next meeting is Monday, October 21st. We will be holding elections again for a recording secretary, and hopefully we'll be able to get that position filled. So we'll have a full board. I'm in the process of working with former President Francis Gonzalez on some banking information for President's Council, and just working to support our schools to the best of our ability.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel. And I will certainly be there on the 21st with updates from the district as well, to keep everyone up to speed with all the things that we're doing at the district level.
Great.
So thank you for that. CC, Eden, any updates that you'd like to share?
Two things. Our meeting is this Wednesday at 7 p.m. at the district office, 4th floor conference room. If you would like to attend, you could be in person or on Zoom. Secondly, right now, our Chancellor Town Hall that was scheduled for next month is in discussion of whether it is going to happen or not. Because the chancellor ending sooner and the new chancellor starting, we're not sure that we really want to be asking a new chancellor these questions that we would have asked the old chancellor and vice versa. So I'm in conversations with FACE right now to determine how we're going to take our next steps. So as soon as we have updates on that, I will share it out to everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Eden. And, we look forward to Chancellor Ramos connecting with our district community whenever that it will be. So excited for her to be able to join, and certainly certainly for me anyway, extend my well wishes to Chancellor Banks and all that he has done in New York City for New York City schools You know, I do truly appreciate all of his leadership and inspirational kind of guy. So I do wish him well in, you know, what that next chapter is going to be for himself, whether it truly be in retirement or, you know, whatever that next career path brings him to. But I do thank him, and I'm super excited for Chancellor Ramos to take the reins as well. So thank you for that, Eden. I know that DC 37 was unable to be here today. So we do not have a report from DC 37. And because of those two spaces not being here, I think we are going to give you guys some time back, I think, today, which is always exciting. Time back is always good. Does anyone else have any new business that we need to discuss before we bring this to a close today? All right, do we have consensus on bringing the meeting to a close and adjourning the meeting? Mr. Marino, give me the head bob. Got a couple of thumbs up. All right, guys, so the only real important part from here on is making sure that we're connecting around what we're presenting and that we're ready to go for next week's SLT training. Will, I'm not sure if you guys are going to be adding that slide deck portion of the slide deck in terms of directions. If there's something there that you want us to specifically add, you know, let us know, because that'll be something that Gus is definitely going to talk about. If there's not something already created, we'll certainly have things prepared to talk to our SLTs about. But if there's something official that's coming from Central in that regard, you know, definitely let us know. We'll make sure that we convey the message the way that you know, the way that your team wants it to be conveyed. So, but other than that, guys, I wish you an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for being here and for supporting our district work. So enjoy the day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye. Take care, Rachel.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Doc.